Lots of people are coming to me at the moment saying, I'm just really tired, or maybe I just need a really, really good night's sleep, or I'm just mentally exhausted and I feel like rest isn't really helping for me. And my response to them is, well, how do you rest? You see, rest is really important, isn't it? We see that all over the Bible. Right at the back, at the beginning of the Bible, in the book of Genesis, in the 7-day creation, 6 days out of creation, because the seventh day for God himself is a day of rest. See, God himself rests, and he gave us actually a whole day specifically for rest. You'd think that that would be a really important and significant part of our life, whether we are Christians or not. For humans, we are built to need rest. You see, we give out of what we have, and if there's nothing inside to give, then how are we going to give? We need that rest to recuperate, don't we? And Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." You see, the Bible teaches that Jesus is the ultimate source of rest, and that he is. But my question to you today is, how do you rest? You see, I'm somebody who just loves bed. I love sleep. But is that rest good if I'm mentally exhausted, or if I'm kind of emotionally drained? You see, when I think about rest, I talk about 3 different types of rest. I talk about physical rest, mental rest, and spiritual rest. And I think it's really important to understand that those 3 types of rest are different from one another, and they are also different for every individual. For example, physical rest for me might look like simply lounging at home on the sofa, playing a game, watching a film. Even scrolling through social media on my phone is good physical rest for me. But whilst that rests me physically, it most certainly doesn't rest me mentally, or probably spiritually. So you see, they are different. And in the same way, for me, mental rest, where I just need to switch off for the world, well, for me, that might be going for a walk in the forest, or going for a walk down the beach, somewhere that's really peaceful and there's not a lot going on. That might rest me mentally. I can completely switch off for the world and fill my mind with peaceful, wonderful thoughts. But actually, if I'm walking or running, then that's not resting me physically, is it? Whilst it might be resting me mentally. You see, there is a difference between physical rest, mental rest, and then this idea of spiritual rest, retreating to God through his word, through prayer, through spending quality time with him. So I want to encourage you now to think about how you rest. How do you rest physically? How do you rest mentally? And how do you rest spiritually? Now, those 3 types of rests will be different. They may even counter one another, but they will certainly be different for each of us. So it's really important to know how you rest. And if we're resting properly, then we'll be able to attend to each rest the best. You see, if we're resting in the wrong way, if we're resting physically when actually we need mental rest, or if we're resting kind of spiritually, but actually we just need some physical rest and we need a good night's sleep, then we're not going to be dealing best with ourselves. So we need to know what type of exhaustion we're feeling, and then what type of rest we need to do and use accordingly. So when you know how you rest, the 2 other things I want to encourage you with are know what fills you and know what encourages you. These are the 3 things I always say to people when I'm chatting with them. Know how you rest, know what fills you, and know what encourages you. You see, we're like funnels, right? We're constantly giving out. And actually, if our funnel is full, every time we're giving, it's just decreasing a little bit. And it's all coming out the bottom. And you know what? Our funnels need to be filled so that we can continue to give. I said at the start, we give out of what we have. Well, for me, if my funnel is draining, then I'm not able to give much. So what fills you? In other words, what gives you energy? What gives you joy? What gives you motivation? For me, I've got to be honest, I love playing table tennis with you young people. I love hanging out with people. I love going for coffee dates. I love roller coasters, and I love playing sport and things like that. Those things fill me. They give me energy. They give me joy. They continue to give me motivation. And actually, I'm lacking in those things at the moment. So I need to rest accordingly. But know what fills you. And then on more of a kind of a spiritual, relational level, what encourages you? You see, it's this sort of area, what encourages you, that's going to help you mentally and going to help you spiritually. If you've got things that you know encourage you in your life, then seek those things out. For me, catching up with good, godly Christian friends encourages me. Hearing about how God is working in their lives, that encourages me. And you know what? That boosts my faith. That boosts my spiritual life, but it also clears my head mentally. That helps me mentally rest as well. So know how you rest, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Those three things will be different, and they'll be different for each individual. Know what fills you. Know what gives you that energy and that joy and that motivation, and seek those things out. And know what encourages you. And hopefully that will keep your mind focused on Jesus. But know this, friends, rest is really important. God rested at the beginning of time. Jesus sits eternally at the right hand of the Father, resting now. And in the future, we will be soon to enter this eternal rest in the face of Jesus. But while we're here on earth, we are humans, we are frail. Friends, we are designed for rest. God doesn't need to rest anymore. He doesn't need to sleep, though he does, because it is a good model for us, whereas we need to rest. So I want to encourage you guys to take rest seriously. Physical rest, mental rest, and emotional rest. But know how you rest, and know what type of exhaustion you're feeling so that you can rest accordingly. Thanks for listening today. I hope this has been a massive blessing for you to remember the importance of rest.